This is as much about battle as about business. And when we stop and think about that for just a moment, this is what we train our agents on. We talk about their approach has to change, whether in a seller's market versus a buyer's market. That's a change.
It goes back to some of the other concepts we've talked about, which is visualizing the competitor, staying ahead, being on offense. It's a culmination of all of these things. Same way with execution. Too much on your plate, you end up executing things halfway and not to its fullest, and it ends up actually bogging you down and hurting your business growth.
But then if you turn around and ask 5 to 10 people that have won at a high level, their description is brutal, pain, ugly. I mean, you name it, it's just pain.
Matt Weaver, the #1 mortgage originator in the United States for most loans closed in 2023 and #1 in the state of Florida from 2020 to present, has spent over 27 years mastering the purchase market, earning more than 16 #1 titles across his career. Max Fisch, 2024's #1 originator in the United States under 30 and #2 in the state of Florida, achieved those titles within just 5 years of entering the mortgage industry, compressing decades of growth into a few extraordinary years. Collectively, they've helped more than 40,000 families purchase their first home. Now partners and looking to improve the industry on a national scale, Matt and Max share their winning formula, team structure, and systems with originators who want to scale from elite to extraordinary levels.
Hello, Matt, or should I say, bonjour, mon ami.
Just not like that.
I'm trying.
Welcome.
I'm trying. And I'm trying because you just got back from France
That's right.
with your family.
Yes.
What a great experience that you shared with me that you had. And France is an extraordinary place. So tell us, you went to Paris.
Yeah. I took the family for spring break to Paris, and I have to tell you, for anyone who has not been there, what a fabulous city, virtually one of the best cities I've ever been to. They call it a walking museum. The architecture is extraordinary, and there's just so much to do. But specifically, if we talk about the Louvre for just a moment, which I'm sure so many people that are listening have gone to it, it's my first time, over 75,000 square feet, this museum, which is just, of course, fabulous. But there is some of the highlights, okay, is the Greek architecture, the sculptures, I should say, which one of the sculptures is the original Nike, okay, and it's on its own staircase, etc. So, of course, Nike, all right, was a goddess, okay, and in Greek that word means winning. Okay, and as you know, my mother was born in Greece, so I was raised in that culture. But Nike is winning, and of course, that's where the shoe brand Nike got its inspiration from. So I sent you all the photo of Nike with the wings, and it's headless, the sculpture, but it's an extraordinary sculpture dating back, almost 3,000 years, something to that effect, which is fabulous. But, it gave me an idea to share with the great group today. And as you know, we shared this with our team, I want to say about 3 or 4, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know, time just continues to fly so fast. But it was in 1977 that the head of marketing for Nike wrote out 10 principles for the company and for the company to adopt and live by. Okay, it was almost like their manifesto is what they called it.
Sure.
And the reason they came up with these 10 strategies because they were going through some really hard and difficult financial times at that time. But amazingly enough, these 10 principles not only just ring true today for any business, but it rings true for all of us in any business, I should say, right? And so we shared this with our group, and I want to share it with the audience here. So if I would recommend having a pen and a pad and to write these down, or maybe they can Google it, whatever they want, and whatever's comfortable. So let's go through this together because it's important. So the first principle that he said was, our business is change. Our business is change. Now, if you think about it, I'll never forget it. When I first got into the industry, I met an agent named Ted Phillips, and he said to me, if you want to make it far in this business, young man, you better accept change, period. And when we stop and think about that for just a moment, this is what we train our agents on. We talk about their approach has to change, whether in a seller's market versus a buyer's market. That's a change. Okay. Over the past 36 months, 3 years, okay, us as originators, we had to have more rate conversations than we ever have had in 25, 26 years. That's change. So we're always having to adapt to change. So we shared with our team that our business is change. Number 2, you're going to love this one. Okay. We're on offense all the time. We're on offense all the time. And when we stop and think about that, we talk about the fact that when we first partnered up together, we said, you were doing a lot of the origination cycle. And we said how important it was that I've been on offense for the past decade. If you take a piece of paper out and draw a line down the middle and put on one side business development activities and on the other side the actual loan process, I mean, I'm only on one side of the paper, which is offense.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually working on the punching of the button. The loan, which there's a space for it, there's a team member for it. Okay, that's defense. Okay, so we remain on offense all the time. Really, really important as originators if we want to scale to high levels of production. But watch number 3. Perfect results count, not a perfect process. Break the rules, fight the law. Fascinating. So when we think about it, I think we can agree, and we talked about it on an episode, that most originators, including myself, we're analytical people. So all we do is look for perfection. But the cost of perfection is far too expensive. It'll never be perfect. We roll out things all the time that are just not perfect. Okay. Perfect results count. And a lot of times we'll figure out a way, if it's not perfect, to make it perfect, to get the perfect results. But we can't get into analytical gridlock waiting for a perfect time, a perfect moment, perfect this, because we never end up doing any things. And it also says, break the rules, fight the law. I think you can agree that we pretty much break the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disrupt it. We disrupt the market.
We disrupt the marketplace. We always come up with something unorthodox, untraditional to speak to the great agents that we serve. Now, number 4, this is as much about battle as about business. This is man, I know you had some stuff to say about that one, so I'll turn that one to you.
Yeah. I mean, battle, it's important that we view it like, okay, we want to be professional. We want to have a professional process and consistent process, etc. But at the end of the day, we're competitors.
Yes.
And we should always be in the mindsets, in my belief system, we should always be in the mindset as we're competing every single day. It goes back to some of the other concepts we've talked about, which is visualizing the competitor, staying ahead, being on offense. It's a culmination of all of these things that if we can view our marketplace as a battlefield, wake up every morning. I know it sounds cliche and corny, but putting on your armor and going to work, it's a mindset that just results in high levels of production and high levels of winning, really.
Oh, well, we've told this audience already that in our opinion, in order to get to great levels of success, now not everyone wants to do it, and that's okay. But you always have to be focusing on who you plan on dethroning.
Yes.
Okay, you have to dethrone someone. Okay, and then when you get to that top and you've dethroned it all, okay, now you're of course chasing your imagination, which is the hardest part to do. So it is always it's as much about battle as it is much about business. Yes. Number 5, assume nothing. Make sure people keep their promises. Push yourselves. Push others. Stretch the possible. Think about that one. You have something to say about that, don't you?
Yeah. So the first thing that came to my mind when I read that was when it says assume nothing, there isn't room for generality. There isn't room for mincing. It's direct, concise. This is how it is. Make sure people keep their promises by what they're saying they're going to do, which if we can create a culture of intentionality in the things that we say and not these just like general things that, all the time, everyone, never,
right.
These types of things get thrown out. That is impossible to live by.
It's impossible to scale.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. It is. It's for the parallel draw with originators is I'm always available. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't fulfill that promise. And so when we can hold our process, our organization, our practice, the people around us to these standards,
right?
Again, the sky's the limit.
I always go to my closings.
Yeah.
For now. Okay, let's continue on. Number 6, live off the land. Live off the land. Now that there is critically important. So we are so resourceful within our current structure. Now, whether someone has one team member, 5, 10, 15, okay, living off the land essentially means living off the resources you currently have. It's not to take somebody out of their game, but in a lot of ways, okay, when we're looking to fulfill a new role, we'll go and look at our roster and ask existing team members, are you happy in the lane that you're in? Do you want to explore another lane within the team infrastructure that we have? That's living off the land. It's being very resourceful, but it's also stretching our team members to a very high degree. See, like we believe that they can always do more, now within their respective lane. But that's essentially living off the land, okay? The human will, what human beings are capable of, you hear me say it all the time. For goodness sake, we build bridges. People put people on the moon, okay? They're in space. I think Artemis 2 took off. I mean, this is real stuff. And we're talking about closing loans. Not very complicated, okay? So living off the land, stretching what is your current infrastructure and getting the most out of it. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's the concept of, do we want to be independent or do we want to be dependent? And if we can have the mindset of being independent in the things we do. Now, I'm not talking about a sole practitioner. It's great to be a part of a team, but I'm talking about, can we, okay, get from A to Z with a process that we build, with a platform that we have, okay? And can we operate within that structure, or are we dependent on outside forces for the success of our business?
Right.
And
right.
that's the key for originators. We want to always strive to get to a place to where we can almost, again, as cheesy as it sounds, control our own destiny within our professional career.
That's why we're here.
That's it.
You know what I mean by that. Number 7, your job isn't done until the job is done. Your job isn't done. That goes back to just, so which level of winning is that?
Raw.
That's raw.
That's raw winning.
Mm-hmm. And for the audience, remember, they're not going to necessarily remember what raw winning is. So explain the feeling of raw winning.
So raw winning is, the last time I said this, we both died laughing. So I'm going to do it with a straight face.
Go, let's see.
Okay. Raw winning is what most people would describe as losing. Okay. It's the struggle of winning. It's completing the job when it's hard and when it doesn't feel good.
Yes.
That's raw winning.
And what's so great about it is that we've labeled it, okay, which then it kind of like makes it a little easier to go through that struggle because we've just labeled it raw, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it like eases the rawness to it, ironically.
Yeah, because you're still winning.
You're still
winning. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, exactly. So the job isn't done until it's done. So that's just flat out raw winning. That is just when you are just
flat out raw winning.
Stop it.
Those are two different types.
I know it's confusing here. But yeah, I don't want to confuse the audience.
Yes.
It's raw winning.
It's raw winning. Next.
Let's move on. 8, dangers, bureaucracy, personal ambition, energy takers versus energy givers.
Whoa. Okay, that's some strong language.
Knowing our weaknesses. Don't get too many things on the platter. I just think of this I just see it like the smorgasbord.
Yeah.
You don't want to photo. Okay, so the dangers are bureaucracy. That's nonsense. Internal politics. No one has the time. So as you know, I always say compliantly, we have a branch. You have to have a branch. You have to have a branch license. That's what we have. But what we really have, okay, outside of that part, is one gigantic basketball team or football team. We run as a team, which we don't have any bureaucracy. So I always say, with our team, we have this group of missionaries. A team to me is a group of missionaries. Everyone's fighting for the same cause.
Yeah.
One for all for one, as cliche as that sounds. Typical branch has a branch manager, multiple loan officers under it. And that's really a group of mercenaries.
Yep.
Okay. Everyone is out for their own independent will. Okay. What's in it for me type structure. So for us, okay, as a team, we have no time for bureaucracy. We have no time for, if you didn't do this right, okay, there's no hard feelings about it. You didn't do it right. Let's make sure we train you up on it. Let's make sure we never repeat not doing it right.
Yep.
It goes back to my son. He plays basketball. He's a 15-year-old kid. Now, remember when he was playing, whether it be 7 years old, 8, 10, 12, when you made an error on the court or when you make an error on the court, the coach pulls you out. What happens? When the team member comes off the court, they high-five every player and sit down. They don't go with their head down, and they're taught at that age to high-five, sit down, move on.
Yep.
There's no time for politics, no time for bureaucracy or nonsense like that. Personal ambition. There we go again. There we go again. That's for the mercenary.
Yep.
What's in it for me versus a team structure? Okay, it's what is good for the entire group. So dangers are personal ambition. Energy takers versus energy givers. We are blessed in the sense of, well, in a lot of ways, but in the sense of our team, I think we can agree. I don't know if we have any energy takers. What do you think?
No, and especially because in our structure and in our world and what you teach in F13 consulting, it's a black and white world. There's no gray, and gray is confusion.
Right.
Here on our team, we don't have confusion.
Correct.
There's everybody knows their role and everybody executes to a high level. And when you have that level of accountability for each other, you've said it oftentimes, nobody works for anybody here. We all work for each other. And I'm just as accountable to you as you are to me and anybody else on our team. When you have that structure and that flow through that ecosystem, there's no room for an energy taker.
There's no room for it. 100%.
Everybody's giving to the person to the right and the left of them because they understand their roles.
So for the originator listening, if there's any energy takers in your world, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Knowing our weaknesses, critically important. Okay. None of us are perfect. No perfect system, no perfect team, no perfect anything. So we talk about what our threats are, what our weaknesses are all the time now, and we try to cure that. Okay. But we all have weaknesses. So that's a very individual based statement.
Yeah.
So for the originator listening, know your weakness and try to address it. Don't get too many things on the platter. Yeah, that is a big one. Trying to take on so much and then you leave all these open windows or doors, or better yet, you don't execute. Everyone has these great ideas. Everyone has great ideas, but very low in execution. Most are low in execution. That's because there's too many things on the platter. So what we try to do here, if we draw it back to us, just to try to inspire and help, is we have a lot on the platter, but we take them individually and we do everything that we can to, of course, execute on that project.
Yeah.
So execution, we're very mindful of. I think you have to be very self-aware of execution. What do you think about that, Max?
Yeah, I mean, I think about this, like when you say the word platter, I think about you just filled your plate with all these different foods, and you might like two of those foods the best, but because you have all this other food on your plate, you find yourself just eating a little bit of all of it.
Yeah. And leaving the protein.
Correct, and leaving the protein because you just filled up on
Filler.
half of everything instead of 100% of what you like to do. So it's the same thing, same way with execution. Too much on your plate, you end up executing things halfway and not to its fullest, and it ends up actually bogging you down and hurting your business growth when you can't focus on something 100%. It's the whole concept of Originate for Life.
It's the whole concept of Originate for Life. We're addressing it at a high level, which, by the way, was a great interview you did with Scott.
Oh,
and him winning at a very high level. Number 9, it won't be pretty. Now, that right there, the first thing that pops into my mind is our friend Tim Grover. Okay. And in his book, Winning, which is right there.
Yep.
Okay. So whoever is listening,
everybody should know that book.
It's a hard book for everyone to resonate with. And I'm only saying it from this degree. I believe everyone can win at a very high level. I really do believe that. And now in saying that, we can all be in different parts of the journey, right? So some maybe just got into the industry. So they're just starting, you got to start somewhere. Okay. Some midway through their journey and some, let's say, already winning at a high level. So usually the feedback I get when I recommend that book winning, I should say, is sometimes it's hard to resonate if you haven't already won at a high level already. Okay. But to just kind of go into that with that context, because remember, it's the journey to winning. Okay. So that everyone's on that journey and everyone's going to get there. I believe everyone can do what it is that we're doing. I really do firmly believe that. That's my belief on it.
Yes.
So with all that said, it won't be pretty. So in the book, Tim says, if you asked 10 people what winning looks like, okay, that has never won anything, they'd say glory, champagne, fireworks. I mean, just the absolute taste of winning. It's magnificent.
Yeah.
Okay. Pop the bottles, light the cigars. But then if you turn around and ask 5 to 10 people that have won at a high level, their description is brutal, pain, ugly. I mean, you name it, it's just pain.
Yeah.
Right. So number 9 says it won't be pretty. It won't be pretty. It'll never be pretty. Listen, we have some pretty audacious goals, wouldn't you say?
1,000%.
And so we already know it's not going to be pretty.
No.
Yeah. Never has been.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. And number 10, lastly, if we do the right things, we'll make money damn near automatically. If we do the right things, we'll make money damn near automatically. So let me tell you what, in my opinion, what that means. Okay. It's so carefully worded there. If you look at the beginning of that sentence, it says, if we do the right things. Doing the right things is serving your customer to the highest level you could possibly serve them. And so if you're focused on serving the customer to the highest level, and what do we mean by that? By way of process, by way of value propositions, by way of education, by way of everything that you do as a service provider to give that customer extraordinary service by way of all the descriptors we just said, then the aftermath is the money damn near automatic. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. What I take away from that is, guys, gals, everybody listening, this isn't complicated. This isn't difficult. We want to identify our standards and how we want to serve our customer, and we want to execute on them. And that's what it means by doing it the right way. And if you do that, I don't care what space you're in,
right,
in this country, you will succeed at a high level.
No,
we see it all over the place.
Well, think about it. Okay. So I was with my son. I was taking him down to a game. And this is just a prime example. All right. And we get picked up by a driver because, of course, going to Miami, it's a little complicated, et cetera. So to save on time, et cetera, we take this driver. Now, first driver comes and shows up. All right. And they were a little disheveled. There's no question about it. Okay. Car, it was good, but it wasn't 100% perfect in terms of cleanliness, et cetera. All right. So we drive down there. It's time for gratuity now. I don't feel that high on giving a lot of gratuity at that point in time because, and this is just instinctual now. Okay. So it isn't necessarily thought out.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I share with my son, see that gentleman, he could have taken what he does a little bit more seriously. So we go see the game and we get picked up again. This time, interestingly enough, gentleman shows up in a suit. As we're walking up to the car, he's brushing his car meticulously. We get into the car, can't find a speck of dust anywhere, drives us home. Of course, I feel like I should be giving him a nice tip. Yeah. I'm getting out of the car. I said to my son, just out of curiosity, whose tax return do you think is higher? The first driver or the second? You're right, Max. It's not that complicated. Let's continue winning.
Thanks, Matt.